I have been answering quite a few questions from you guys over the past 3 to 4 months, and a lot of you guys are still stuck in the dilemma weighing the advantages and disadvantages of studying in Russia over rest of the world. I have chosen to make it simple for you guys through this video. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you the advantages and disadvantages of studying in Russia. Let's get started. So let's start with the advantages. Number one, fee structure and contracts. So this is the basic thing that we all consider before going and studying in a different country or even joining an educational institute in any place of the world. The fee structure and the contracts that come with it. So the fee structure and contracts in here go like this. When you are getting an admission for the university, you are provided with the information of how many dollars or how many rubles in case of Russia that you are going to pay to the university as fees. And this is written in a contract so that you need to do it for the rest of the time you are in here. So in a lot of other universities, some of my friends who are studying in Taiwan, they are getting a contract only for 1 year. So if their course is for more than a year, say they are studying engineering over there, you need to make contracts each and every year. So the contracts tend to change every year. So if you're studying under scholarship or anything like that, it can get cancelled at any point of time. But the advantage of studying in a university in Russia is that you are provided a contract for all 6 years. I have signed a contract when I joined the university initially for 6 years that I would be paying a fees of about 230,000 rubles every year. So this doesn't change. But another main thing to note is that your hostel fees are not denoted in the contracts. For example, when I joined the university initially, the dorm fees for a two sharing room was about 3,200 rubles, or the exact same converted in Indian rupees. But now I pay about 3,700 rubles for the same two sharing room that I was staying in the first year. So the hostel rooms increased about 100 to 200 rubles every single year. So that does not come under your contracts. So the next advantage is going to be the cost of living in here. Russia is considered to be one of the cheapest countries that you can go and study as a student. If you're going to be studying in Moscow, that's a different case because Moscow is one of the most expensive cities in the world. As I have shown it in my vlog, just transportation from one place to another is a minimum of 60 rubles anywhere you go. The exact same transportation, you can find it in Vladivostok, is about 28 rubles. I won't say it hasn't increased over the years. Initially, when I came during my first year, it was only 20 rubles anywhere you go in the bus. So I won't say the cost of living hasn't increased. For example, the same amount of ingredients I got in the supermarket in the first year costed me around 1,500 rubles. That was the maximum I would spend on groceries at that point of time. But now, the minimum which the groceries which I got for 800 rubles back then costs about 2,000 rubles now. So the cost of living has increased quite a bit, but not as much as the cost of living elsewhere or even compared to the Moscow side of Russia. So that's something to keep in mind. I would consider that an advantage because I have been able to manage my cost of living under 10,000 rubles every single month, excluding the hostel fees. So that's something to keep in mind. The next advantage of living in Russia or studying in Russia is going to be the active Indian community and the amazing foreign affairs that we have with the Russian government over years and years together. So this is something we considered and my parents considered before sending me here to study. So the active Indian community in Vladivostok, we also have an embassy over here. So there are a couple of embassies apart from Moscow all around Russia. So you can choose your universities based on the proximity if you're considering a safety point of view. The foreign affairs relations that goes on between Russia and India, this has been proven to be a strong point when it comes to both our countries. So that's also an advantage in my books. So those are the advantages I would tell someone who is considering studying in Russia. So now let's skip to the part of disadvantages. So there are 3 to 4 disadvantages that I would like to tell you and warn you about before you come to study in Russia. These can be considered an advantage or a disadvantage, which is entirely up to you because all these things are specific and probably some things in this list might be an advantage to you. And the first disadvantage that I would like to tell you is the weather. weather across Russia is going to be the most horrible thing that you're going to face if you're coming from a tropical country. For me personally, I enjoyed the weather of Russia, and I still like to, continue living in Russia just for that reason. The summers are horrible, but I have a fan, and I can manage with that. But the winters are going to be pretty rude. It is going to be pretty harsh. The temperatures are going to drop till the point of minus 30 degrees as of Vladivostok. If you're considering some place like Siberia, where there are universities such as the Tom State Medical University, etc., it is going to be even more worse. Those places will get snowfall in the start of November, or even at the end of October. So it is going to be pretty harsh out there, and the winter season is going to extend for more than 6 months. In Vladivostok, I would consider the winter months as end of November, December, January, February and March. These are the 5 months that I would be considering the harshest points of winters in here. But if you consider somewhere such as Siberia, etc., these 5 months are going to be transformed into more like 7 months out there. Minus 30 degrees is not that much harsh on you whenever you are in the city, or you are in a place where there is no breeze. But in my island where I am currently staying, we have a lot of sea breeze going on, and we have a lot of cyclones or hurricanes that hit this part of Russia much more often than the other parts. So the climate in here is going to be pretty harsh, even though the temperature is just minus 30 degrees in the maximum point. For me, I would consider weather to be not that much of a disadvantage. I even tell my juniors, or tell people who are considering coming to Russia, that the weather will be fine when you are getting used to it, because all the buildings have centralized heating supplies. The dormitories have centralized heating supplies too. So inside the dormitories and inside the buildings, you are comfortable all around the year. The next one is food. For someone who has grown in the tropics, or someone who is from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or the subcontinent basically, you would find yourself in a really bad place whenever it comes to food. For this reason, I would consider the Moscow side of Russia to be better, because Indians have been living there for a long period of time, and I have been to those cities where Indians live, and I have found a lot of Indian shops and stuff like that. It is not much different when it compares to Vladivostok, but still it's an advantage for them due to the number of years Indians and people from the subcontinent have lived in there. So food is going to be much of a consideration if you are planning to choose Vladivostok. I have shown you in the grocery store or the supermarket video of what all spices that we get in here. Those are enough if you consider yourself to be manageable. But you're not going to be getting anything that is authentic Indian, or your cravings are not going to be met that easily. You have to find ways to manage your cravings. So that's something that you have to consider. In my part, at least, there is no mess facility or canteen facilities. In other parts, there are a couple of Indian restaurants who offer such facilities to Indian students. So you might consider other universities just because of this reason. But also, I won't consider it to be a major disadvantage, because for me, I easily got adapted, and most of my friends also have gotten adapted to this situation much more easily. So the next one is going to be a much difficult thing to consider for anyone who is coming to Russia, which is the Russian language. For someone who is studying in an English medium course, Russian language is not much of an issue, but still you have to go to the hospitals and talk to your patients only in Russian. And in hospitals, most of the doctors won't converse to you in English because they are obviously Russians. Only your teachers and administrators in here know English to an extent where they can understand you. But if you are going out of your university, or you're going for practice in a medical hospital, you're going to be in huge trouble when it comes to Russian language. But my friends who have considered 1 year of studying Russian, that is postfact, which is mostly going to be free, or they are going to give you scholarships based on that. Most of the people who come from other parts of the world, like Brazil students or people coming from Africa, all of my friends from there have studied 1 year of postfact, that is the Russian language course. and they have continued studying in Russian medium because it's much more cheaper. So that's something to consider if you are coming to Russia. If you're bad at learning languages, then I don't think Russia is the place for you to come and study. So that's also a major burden when it comes to medical practice. If you're not going to be learning the language quicker, it's going to be a major disadvantage. The next one is going to be considering the internship procedures and the cadavers in here, because these two are the main questions that I get in my YouTube channel much more often. The first one, let's consider internship. Even though you are studying for 6 years in here, apart from these countries which were there as a part of the Soviet Union, most of the countries don't recognize the 6 years as a part of the internship program in Russia. So for us, we study the 6 years integrated with internship. Like every single year we have summer practices, which is considered internship, and after the third, fourth year, we go to hospitals along with the study structure. At least in other universities, my university is a bit lagging in that part. But still we are improving. So that's something you have to consider. If you are planning to go to UK, US, or even to India, internship in here is not going to be considered valuable in there. You have to do yet another year when you go and pass exams out there. In India, I have found articles that internship in here is now worth something, that you don't have to do a year of internship after you finish your FMG exams. But still, due to this coronavirus situation and the upcoming next exams, it is still a black hole when it comes to information regarding that. So that's something you have to consider, because everywhere else like PLAB, US, MLE, you have to do at least 3 months of medicine training and 3 months of surgery training, and after that you have to do 6 months of other specialty training in various fields like ENT, ophthalmology, etc. So these are the basic things, and you have to complete this all in 1 year. So that's something you have to consider. The next one is going to be cadavers. As of all my friends who I have inquired in other parts of Russia, cadaver is not something that is provided to them. As of my university, I can be sure to tell you that you're not going to be getting any cadavers to dissect, but there is an anatomy lab in our university, and we have an already dissected cadaver, and parts of the human body such as the bones, etc., are also given to you during your anatomy classes. So you can study with those. That's something which I used to study. I don't think you're gonna get to see dissection of cadavers anytime soon. If you're studying pathology in your third year or something like that, you may get to see autopsies, like how I got to see autopsies, but it was just selective on whoever got to see the autopsies. Many have also asked me the questions if you can access the anatomy lab without your classmates, etc. In my college, at least, if you are really good at what you are doing, you are going to get special access to the anatomy labs from your professors, etc. But if you are not going to please your professors based on your performance, you are not going to get that either. So those are the advantages and disadvantages I would consider if I'm recommending someone to come and study in Russia. So these are the things I would weigh in and out against. So if you have found this information useful, please click the like button down below. Comment down your suggestions on what are all the next videos you would like me to post in my channel, and I would see you guys in the next video. Peace out.